Well, good day and welcome to our presentation and today's discussion of a historical and Bible prophecy briefing document with emphasis on the key events that can provide a future solution to the current Middle East crisis. I'm Audie Johnson and I'll be your host and facilitator as we journey through this study. As you probably know, people in our country and around the world are more concerned now than at any time in history as to where the world is headed today. Wars and violence are everywhere, and most solutions to these worldwide problems seem unsolvable. In the Bible, God warned us that these chaotic times would exist shortly before Jesus Christ makes his second return to earth. I found the upcoming solutions to the current Middle East crisis in the pages of the Bible. These solutions led me to create the specific Bible prophecy study we are about to begin. Now let's take a few minutes to outline how this study will unfold. We will utilize 17 slides over 4 separate one-hour sessions to cover the details in my historical and Bible prophecy briefing document. Each one-hour session will include 20 minutes of presentation and 40 minutes for discussion. Approximately 10 minutes per slide will be utilized for discussion in each of the one-hour sessions, and we'll utilize 4 slides in each session. Now these 4 sessions can be done one at a time or at all together in a workshop setting. This approach will enable Bible study instructors to present this study to their attendees over 4 one-hour sessions, or the entire study can be covered in approximately 4 hours in a workshop setting, not including time-out breaks. Now with the breaks, the time may be as much as 5 hours. And you may also choose to watch just the presentation on DVD without any interruptions. The runtime for the DVD will take approximately 80 minutes, which is about the time it takes to watch a movie. You can contact me once you have reviewed the presentation for questions and discussions at my email address. And if you'll get your pens ready, I'll give that to you. ajohns2885@austin.rr.com. I will also be able to assist you in your group discussion sessions via the internet or by telephone communications. Now let's review the key points of our opening slide before we journey into the details of the Bible prophecy briefing document and the upcoming solution to the current Middle East crisis. First, I will quickly cover my personal background and relative experiences. Then I will identify the sources of selected research materials, and I'll note the major events that are leading us into the final days of God's plan for mankind. We will present the potential impact these major events will have on world changes in the spheres of influence. I encourage you to share this document with others, but please don't charge any fees. This document is not to be sold for profit. Now we may have to charge for copying and shipping and handling of copies if this becomes necessary as interest grows. The information used in developing this document from the noted sources is of my private interpretation of this material and is utilized to promote understanding and discussion of key prophetic events only. I encourage you to obtain copies of these outstanding documents, and they are available either online or at Christian bookstores. I recently prepared this document to help get God's plan for the remaining days of mankind on our present earth to interested listeners like yourselves. Now I'm a member of a non-denominational church located in Austin, Texas. I've served the Lord in numerous capacities during the last 35 years, such as Bible study instructor, deacon, chairman of the deacons, and director of the church's outreach ministries. I love to see people becoming a believer in Jesus Christ, and I pray that this document will serve as an enabler in helping folks to connect the dots of God's plan for the end of days, as set forth in the Holy Bible. Shortly after I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior in the spring of 1978, I began teaching interested adults and teens during 1979 and still do to this day. I hope and pray that these prophecy sessions will give each of you a peace and understanding that God is in total control of our current world situations. Now I'm not an alarmist, but I do believe that God has called me as one of his watchmen to get his end of days prophetic word out to people. I am also grateful to the outstanding authors of numerous historical and Bible prophecy books and materials that I have selectively used in creating this Bible prophecy briefing document. Most of these authors have published excellent books in other media that are among the best-selling biblical materials across the world. Of course, the most important book I used was the Holy Bible. Now, many of you may know that prophecy is history written in advance, and 28% of the Bible is about prophecy. While many folks have snippets of understanding about prophecy, most do not seem to know how to relate today's happenings to Bible prophecy. Connecting the sequential dots of upcoming events is not an easy task for most Christians. While I am not a date setter regarding future Bible prophecy events, I do believe, as the Lord promised, that He would give us signs and Bible scriptures that would lead us to know the sequence of events at the end of days. Now, the key scenario of this briefing document is the placement of two major upcoming biblical events in the order that they may occur, and that they may lead us into the final days of the present age. The first event to occur may be the rapture, followed almost immediately by a war between Israel and Russia and a coalition of Islamic nations. The U.S. will be in total chaos and anarchy immediately following the rapture. Our country will not be able to respond to the calamities that will be occurring across the world after the rapture. It's estimated that up to 100 million people in the U.S. will be taken to heaven at the rapture, and perhaps 1 billion across the world. The rapture will change the world in a dramatic way and lay the foundation for new spheres of influence across the world. Can you imagine what the world will be like without any Christians? This is when Satan's final days begin, and he'll be allowed to unleash all his evil powers to destroy mankind. He will take the lost people of all ages with him to his final destiny, which is the eternal lake of fire and brimstone, where they will remain forever. Now, I encourage you to pre-read my briefing document before each of our briefing sessions, especially the reference scriptures for each topic. This will serve as a time-saving enabler for each of our briefing sessions. Now, adequate time will be available during these briefing sessions for questions and discussions of the briefing document's messages, and we'll cover questions and discussions at the end of the presentation for each slide. So please note your questions on a notepad and hold them for the discussion period for each slide. And I want to thank you for your help in this matter. Now, are there any questions or discussions before we begin our journey toward the last days of our planet?